Draven also kept away from Kalista here. Zyra and Lilia banning those AP junglers heavily on the side of KC.
Yeah, we've dipped into Lilia tier now here, this deep into Fearless.
I always love when a character is described as their own tier. It's not a letter or anything. Ah, yes, this is Lilia tier.
Yeah, because we've gone through so many. Did we get a turn on every one of the other tanks? I'm waiting for the Fearless thing to rotate again. Okay, we had Sejuani.
Yeah,
Maokai is banned.
Maokai's been banned every single game.
Where's Skarner at?
Skarner is still available.
Okay.
Because he was banned last game.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is. Okay.
There he is. Where's that Skarner?
He's got to show up there. Okay, so Kalista has made it through. That's the sacrifice that had to be made. And now what will be the answer on the side of KC? Because normally when Kalista gets through, usually it's because the side letting her through has an answer to it. Something like the Ashe, right? Well,
Draven.
Just
banned away.
Yeah, Draven's banned away. Ashe has already been picked. The pool has been shaved down a lot. So we'll see how KC wants to respond to this. Okay, Caitlyn.
All right, are we going to immediately slam the like Lux or something along with this Caitlyn, Karma or something like that? Just to have the super heavy poke pushing bottom lane against this Kalista? I kind of like, ever since we have had this change of the lane swaps have gone away, we have actually had, you know, a lot of situations where the Kalista's been given over and then faces double range, you know, matchup and gets pinned under tower early on.
Yeah.
But this time around, the Kalista will be able to nab the Renata, so will be strong regardless. That pairing just has so many strong synergies.
Yeah, it's one of those all-time lane combos that you just think of the champions working so well together. We'll see if CFO wants to grab their own jungler here in the first half before more bans come in. Plenty of stuff obviously already off the table. All the popular stuff is either still banned, like poor Maokai and Skarner, who are just never allowed into the game. But, ooh, Nocturne, okay.
Okay, so some other like flanking possibilities here. Whenever you have Kalista, you know, you're looking for things to enable the short range AD carry later on, so you can have a lot better team fights later into the game. So Nocturne Darkness does that, and then if they can get other flanking champs like, you know, Kennen or something like that, along with the draft they've already got, that would go a long way. There's a Karma that I mentioned though, going for the double poke as we kind of suspected for the bottom lane, answer into it.
Right, they just got to try to keep Kalista stuck underneath the tower, make it impossible for her to play her game, be abusive.
Exactly.
In the early game.
You always also, with this duo, you want to start in lane, so you're pushing from very early on, because you get a lot of the poke damage once you've pushed the minions under their tower, and they're scrambling for CS under their tower. So always trying to focus on like getting early wards down there, early positioning down there, so that Caitlyn, Karma can get the most out of their push and poke strategy.
All right, Orianna banned as the first one in the second half here from KC. Gangplank banned out by CFO. Jax banned out by KC.
You get the response, because Gangplank is one of the really good responses that we've had for Jax, so then they're like, okay, fine, then we ban the Jax out. Now what's your option for the blind? Because well, we'll probably, I mean,
Gnar is still alive.
It would probably go mid lane here too, actually, for the side of
oh, they're getting rid of
KC.
Wonder if they're just
Okay,
getting
so
rid
they
of
take
stuff
out
kill Sion.
the Gwen also, yeah, and anything that's good against tanks. All right, so there's your flexible still Aurora, could go either lane. All right,
Okay.
see. Nice fourth pick there.
I'm still come on, give me the big old meatball. Where's the Sion at?
Yeah.
That's I'm just expecting it. Sion and some kind of AP mid laner. That's got to be it. It's got to be it. Right. Ooh. Okay. A little bit of a Kali spice.
Okay, a Kali seeing the Aurora.
This is a very short range, very just in-your-face team.
It's good. It's more dive. You know, we were talking when the Nocturne was picked, you want more flankers, more divers along with it. So you got to go heavy dive. Your AD carry is very short range, so it's all about aggressive plays.
Oh.
Not quite the Sion. I'll do you one better. Nocturne ult and the Ornn ult are just so insane together. Your range of getting picks is incredible with this comp for CFO across the map. Problem is, if KC have such a heavy pushing bottom lane, and they get turret plate money, and they get to push how they want on bottom side with Caitlyn and Karma, then you get to rotate the Caitlyn Karma and like build up an early lead of constant pushing.
Well, there's the Gnar that I mentioned earlier that also still available this deep into the draft. So Gnar versus Ornn in the top lane, Akali versus Aurora in mid. Who are you giving the edge to in this draft here, you think?
I mean, I kind of like the KC side, honestly.
Okay.
Especially because the Gnar into Ornn, I feel like Kana's going to be able to get a big individual lead. And then you are looking at some pretty good Gnar targets for later on. You know, Gnar can have priority on the side lane, but then you have a Nocturne and a Akali you have to think about. So really depends on how the early game goes in this matchup, because Nocturne and Akali can put a lot of pressure on side lanes, you know, if the opening of the game does go well. And of course, Ornn always provides you that value, despite the Gnar having some good options into it.
I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see how this works out. I would love to see us go all the way to silver scrapes for both series today if we could. This is the fun part of Fearless, is best of fives. You see this conversation so much on like Twitter or Reddit or anything where people are just like, yeah, best of threes are cool and all, but you don't really get into the meat of it until you get to game 4, get to game 5, really test those champion pools. So I'm excited. I want to see, can Kalista and Targamas use the power of this Caitlyn and Karma to keep Kalista Renata down enough? Kalista just gets banned so often, so much. Can we see the wrath of this champion really show its teeth here and bring CFO to a 5th and final game?
Definitely exciting. Of course, both junglers are traditional level 6 junglers here, looking for a lot of standard full clears, but when you have a matchup like that, sometimes you can throw them off by, especially like a Nocturne going in who will have fear early. If you want to try and make a visit towards bottom lane, you can completely change how the matchup goes. So you do have to invest, like we were saying in Champ Select, as soon as the Caitlyn was locked, you know, a little bit of effort as far as the vision goes to make sure that the Caitlyn Karma get to play their pushing game. Because, you know, ideally for Nocturne, you get full clear into full clear, but he can throw you off if he decides to skip a camp and mess up your timer and then completely change one of your lane matchups.
So where do you want to see Yike focus specifically this game? Anything in particular, or just
on the camps right now,
okay,
but on shadowing bottom lane, because bottom lane will be the most exposed, and they're the ones that are trying to play for plate money, play for poke, play for pressure. So you usually just want to try and shadow them. So that's why he's starting on topside path, and he'll want to provide that security for Kalista and Targamas to just go aggro.
Nice early poke, immediately landing at level 1 from Kalista and Targamas, both spells connecting. You already mentioned it, just the fact that these guys want to be in lane, free firing from the moment that a minion is on their screen, constantly having the tempo, constantly having the push.
I would say the only thing Kalista and Targamas have to worry about is if, like we said, Junja wanted to skip some camps and worry about the 3-camp timer down on bottom side. It looks like they are, and they have their ward in river, so nicely done by them. They're checking all the boxes. Wow. They even got an early barrier.
Yeah, that was a very early barrier. Doggo just trying to maximize his HP
Get that cooldown back.
Yeah, just
I mean, the poke damage is going to, you know, stack up, so trying to do his best to mitigate it early on.
Yeah, I'm not hating it. It just definitely looks a little bit strange considering the normal uses of barrier, but he knows what this is going to be. He knows this is going to be a painful situation. Yep. Kalista all the way back up in his own jungle to check the blue buff, make sure that that wasn't getting invaded through an alternate path. Wanted to be ready to collapse on Junja. It was now back in the bottom lane to try to keep the pressure onto Kaiwing and Doggo. And yeah, I expect to see this bottom lane just be the biggest early gold advantages on the Rift. As Kaiwing, wow, taking a ton of damage there. Nicely done from Targamas and Kalista.
Yep, really well done. Meanwhile, they now, by process of elimination, we'll know Nocturne's pathing to smooth path up to the top side, so they could just trade Scuttle Crabs, and Wukong can end up down on this bottom side, as it is now pushing out a little bit.
Ooh, Hongkyu going in for the second half of the Shuriken flip. That ability is so strong once he gets some AP. Has like the AP ratio of most champions' ultimate abilities.
Yeah.
So
even with it getting nerfed too, still
it's
insane.
still nasty. So very important for Vladdy to avoid those whenever he can as this lane continues. And we'll see those Piltover Peacemakers just continue flying out, finding the mark over and over and over again. HongQ walking towards the brush. We'll find Yike waiting on him, but immediately ready to bop the ward there with the auto attack reset. As long as you're a champion with an auto attack reset, if you hit a ward as soon as it's placed, you're gonna kill.
Got to cover bottom. He's got to cover bottom now, and he does. Good job there for Yike. He doesn't go for the immediate recall. He wants to cover bottom on the push. He puts the ward for Tri-Brush. I mean, just those little plays like that is exactly what we're highlighting for a jungler, what you want to play for a Caitlyn Karma. He comes down, you know, the Nocturne was kind of camping around, but these wards that you can see, the entrances from the CFO red side jungle.
Oh, nice double shot again.
They fully scout out the routes here of any sort of reinforcements that would come the way of CFO. And so CFO just continue to get pelted under the tower.
The laning versus Caitlyn plus whatever poke mage combo is just a miserable experience. It's so difficult to endure this, as you will see. Junja hanging around down here, fires off the Dustbringer, fast enough to knock all 3 hits off of that ward as well. But Kalist and Targamas right back to what they were doing. They don't miss a beat. Time for Kaiwing and Doggo to try to go home.
Dude, they could go and interrupt him again. This is so annoying for Junja.
Yup.
I mean, again, that's why I highlighted that ward in the Tri-Brush from Yike, where he sticks around, goes down to make sure, you know, he can cover for them. He gets paid back because the time that he invested there then results in 2 stopped recalls for the Nocturne for Junja, delaying the level 6 Nocturne ultimate gank.
And you can see the lane swap attempt here as Driver goes bottom, and that means they're going to be able to send their Kalista Renata topside, but then just the exact equal response from KC, making sure that they want to keep Caitlyn and Karma dealing with that Kalista and Renata combo, as Kana's honestly having exactly the time you would expect him to have against the Ornn, just dominating in the 1v1 there. Jun just starting up the Drake nice and early. Yike nearby, but hard to close in and try to deal with this guy. Ornhorn summoned up. Driver smacking Kana around a little bit with it, but Kana with a flash behind him to get the better positioning. Now Driver's got to continue running away as the Infernal Drake is already going to be secured by CFO. Kaiwing and HongQ both ready to try to jump in here. It's first blood over to HongQ on the Akali.
HongQ, hyped up after the end of the previous game, starts out with some extra money on the Assassin. Oh my goodness, this is actually huge. The Dragon, the kill, CFO, they're back. They're here to stay.
That looked good for them. KC wanted to step up, see if maybe they could challenge. Thought they might have had enough men for it, but no. The damage power of this CFO squad. Check it out again.
HongQ staring down Targamas and Vladdy, runs them through the other side, and Junja with the early flash. Just so good. Junja flashing to make sure his Fear Tether will still hit, and Yike drops again. Yike was their target on the Vi in the previous game. Constantly, they were seeking him out. There was a lot of like Ash arrows from Doggo, HongQ himself even, and they successfully targeted him. This time around, another successful attempt targeting him. They got the Fear. They finish it with the perfect execution from HongQ. And when Akali gets accelerated, I personally am traumatized from all solo queue times.
I am typing FF. I am working on my Mavis Bacon typing simulator /FF/FF. Fed Akali is a hard champion to deal with. And it looks like CFO, not only are they going to get the first Drake, they're going to get the first 3 grubs. There's no accelerated Jace Shock Blast nearby to steal one away. They are feeling great about that. Doggo again, just using these barriers judiciously to dodge away against some of that poke. But it is important to note that despite the fact that the only kill is for CFO, despite the fact that they got the first 2 objectives, they are still down in gold just because of the advantages built by Kana and Kalist.
Exactly. Their laning matchups are horrendous. We knew this coming into the game, and you know that's why we're saying we like the KC side of the draft, but they got the extra money to try and make up for that with you know, the kill here for HongQ, going some distance, and you're going to provide a lot of decent value from the Ornn later on. We saw in the previous fight, by the way, even though Kana had pressure, Driver put himself in danger to make sure that Kana wouldn't get the early rotation over to the rest of the team. So Driver, he effectively isolated his losing matchup and drew Kana away just to like trade flashes and trade ultimates and stuff. And even though Driver like lost that, he wasn't trying to win it. He was just trying to make sure his losing matchup doesn't spill over to the rest of the team. And that's kind of what you have to do to create successful plays for the rest of your team.
Vladdy just trying to get this wave shoved up. Targamas rotates over to help him out with that one. Nothing for anybody to really fight for outside of the lanes right now. 2 minutes on both the next dragon and that next set of grubs. Timer's pretty well synced up, although not exact, as Kalista will come back up to the top lane to answer this wave crashing. Still about 250 gold up on Doggo. That's going to balloon back up closer to about 400 after he farms this wave. 71 to 88 in farm. Exactly what you would expect for this matchup, as yeah, they got to keep this pressure. So let me ask you, we want to see from CFO the ability to weather the storm early from the lanes and make sure that they're team fighting well and ready to pounce on these guys once they have the chance. For KC, how do you keep things moving forward after you've got these early advantages through your laning matchups?
It's a Wukong Flash, for sure, 100%.
Okay.
When Wukong Flash comes back up for Yike, that's got to be the play. Your Wukong with ultimate and Flash is such a big playmaker, considering your solo lanes here, Aurora and Gnar, definitely have the ability to follow up on those plays. And so once they have that extra mobility, maybe that's that's where you see it. Khan himself's doing quite well for himself. Of course, presents a bigger problem that the Akali got the money to fund that Proto Belt so early in the game. Definitely removes Akali as one of the targets. He's already hard to pin down with the Shroud as well as the Shuriken Flip, but definitely will be a difficult one. So gonna have to look elsewhere on the map, and Yike now does have his Flash for the Wukong, so one of his #1 things is trying to kind of shadow as well, and Nocturne ultimate they know is ready, so be ready to turn around the Nocturne play. You want to try and set up your camp so you're on the same side as the Nocturne, and if your Nocturne goes towards your Caitlyn Karma, then you rely on the Karma Shield and Wukong shadowing to counter that Nocturne ult that you know is going to be a big all-in breaking point for a Kalista Renata lane, and that's actually happening right now.
Yeah. You can see Junjia coming around. He does have the experimental Hex Plate already completed. Important to note, this item is going to allow him to have a lot more ultis total. Generally for Nocturne, it's going to be either that or the Stride Breaker first. He wants to go for this extra power on ultimate. So that being fully done compared to just the parts of the Trinity Force that Yike has right now means the Nocturne has a definitive advantage, at least in their individual power. But Yike is going to take the chance, knock out that little spooky Kalista Sentinel, start up this dragon himself. Driver versus Kana up here on the top side. It's a hard knock life for Ornn. He doesn't really like this situation too much, but he's doing what he can with it as KC has control over the bot side river. And it doesn't look like anybody on the side of CFO is interested in this. Instead, they're just going to handshake this second spawn of objectives. The Dragons will end up going 1-1, but it'll be a 6-0 grub split for the side of CFO.
Yep. No need to fight that on your resets. You just had a big chunk taken by Honkyu. Vladdy finished his Luden's Echo and then teleported back in to force the recall the other way. So then you get your answer here. Sork Shoes picked up for Honkyu. So Akali's got the penetration along with the mobility and wants to use it. As soon as he finishes his little combo there, Honkyu walking in for some deep vision with Kai Wing. Once Honkyu can get his level 11 too, ideally, he'd like to wait until he can squeeze out level 11 before he goes for the all-in, so you can get your ultimate rank 2 and have the huge kill pressure. A lot better with it. But they're preempting the play by getting the deeper vision down first, and look for those people who are rotating between objectives, between lanes here for KC, who have moved their bottom lane up to the top side of the map afterwards, and kind of sitting down here still trying to farm up some grass procs here against Driver.
Yeah, Kana with that completed Trinity Force is so scary now, but Junja showing up Nice escape from Kana so far. He gets far enough away that they can't continue the chase because the Gnar bar is fully charged. That means overcommitting near the turret is a death sentence. Well played from Kana to avoid that Nocturne gank, make that first Nocturne ulti essentially nullified.
Wonder what this is actually for. Yeah, definitely, you know, the flash being blown for the Gnar is something,
yeah,
but a necessary one and a good one to escape. He was also about to transform Mega, so yeah, Nocturne staring at him like, okay, my fear procced, but he's about to go Mega in front of the tower, and we know he's gonna get scoop me under the tower, so let's chill with that one. So the play stops there. Maybe a water spillage.
It's a spill situation.
Okay.
That's what happened. Okay, the old classic. Some things change, some things don't.
Things never do.
Yep. I had something much more eloquent in my brain, but it came out as that. So, whatever.
You win some, you lose some, Flowers.
Yep. That's the way she goes sometimes, man. The way she goes.
You spill some, you save some as well.
Yeah.
So
I hope he saved more than he spilled.
Yeah.
I hope it was only a small spill.
Yeah. I wonder what the contents actually were. Is it just water, or was it like a caffeine spill? Because the caffeine spill would be a bigger. Whoa, Yike is in it.
Oh, dude, yeah, he is serious business right now.
I mean, he did get killed in the dragon play, but it wasn't like devastating. I know the last game as well, he's probably feeling a little bit down from the previous one, but lock in.
Yep.
He's contemplating the state of the game.
I mean, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the second game that was just so bad for CFO where they lose 20-1 or whatever. It's like in a best-of-5 series, so much of it is a mental game.
Yeah.
And you can't just, boom over having a bad one, right? You got 4 more to play, buddy. You got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to lock in. And that level of resilience is something that, especially when you have younger players, especially when you have players who are newer to the international stages, it can be something that catches them off guard, right? We're talking about Kalist and Honkyu being the 2 youngest players at this event. This is like their introduction to internationals, and just being able to make it this far and being able to handle the pressure and just the scope of where they're at is really impressive.
Yeah, certainly is. We've seen a lot of smiles on these player cameras, despite the pressure that is here.
Oh, wait.
Wait a second. That Ornn is dead. That's a body there, Flowers. Okay. Investigate.
We definitely somebody got spilled down there in the bottom lane.
Who done it?
Okay, so
it was the Gnar with the boomerang in the bottom lane.
And there are no ones in the assist column for anybody else on KC, so that was a solo kill. Now, Kana
what you get for burning my flash with that gank, huh?
Yeah.
You call jungler. Oh, okay. Well, I called mid laner.
Yeah, here comes Honkyu. Sure, he can flip backwards to just get himself closer. Perfect execution, and oh, nice. He tried to juke him, thinking maybe he would go the wrong way, but not quite going to get the luck on that one. As Doggo ready to try to engage here on a Kalist and Targamas. No, they need to back away right now. Kaiwing and Doggo know that they're in some danger. Yike is trying to close the gap, wants to go for the flash engage, but an immediate response in flashes from CFO to escape from it.
A lot of action very quickly, and it's going to result in more money into the hands of the Akali, which is a bit scary. But the Caitlyn Karma claims a tower in the time because they saw Junja on that ward right there. They know that there's no jungler up top side. So here's a look. The investigation. It was indeed Kana in the bottom lane. Actually with his hands and not the boomerang,
yeah,
but close enough.
He hit him with a rock.
Yep. And then Honkyu comes to answer. Of course, you can see on the minimap during that time, because of the roam, the Aurora did get some extra pressure on the tower in mid lane, albeit not that much. And a more meaningful one was the top side counter.
Yeah, the biggest individual gold lead in this game is Kana. Thank you so much, MasterCard Lane Economy Snapshot. 1,191 gold for Kana up over Driver. You've got some nice advantages for the Nocturne and the Akali on the other side, but then also Kalist with a nearly 1,000 advantage for himself. You've got some serious power players on either side, but it overall slightly favors KC, just ever so little bit.
Yeah, and the thing that KC do have to worry about, the money is in the hands of the super mobile champions on the side of CFO. Nocturne and Akali are the ones that get to traverse the map and put pressure wherever they see someone who's out of line or who is exposed. So I have to worry a little bit here, as both of them with their rank 2 ultimates will be able to make these big plays. Meanwhile, the side lanes will probably be the same story.
Yep.
As we have seen, and Kana continuing to push in, get that Gnar priority on the side lanes, and threaten the teleports to come into the big team fights. This is why the fifth pick for KC was why we really liked their side of it. The Gnar has the ability to win side lane as well as join the rest of the team.
Oh yeah. KC going to take the opportunity, just try to force down the tier 1 turret here, as you do have a teleport coming in from Driver, joining up with the rest of the squad to try to make a play. Hongq diving in with the Ornhorn in over the top. Junja gonna get the fear. Feat of Warfare claimed as Yike spins in, trying to get something back, but he will not do it. Meanwhile, bottom lane, tier 1 turret destroyed by Kana. That is now 2 turrets claimed by the top laner at KC.
Yeah, and they're gonna keep on pushing actually towards mid lane here. It's like they're just going to rotate over the Dragon after they get up to tower. But very early on, you could tell KC made the call, we're not going to answer teleports. We are not going to answer with Kana's teleport, but they couldn't avoid the engage.
Yike's in some trouble. He gets caught out. He's going to get bursted down. The fear is there, and he's out. Beautifully picked there by CFO. The Herald now summoned up too, just as a distraction over in mid lane. And with the claim on this Drake, there's going to be, oh wait, there's already the feats claimed. I forgot about the first Drake going the way of CFO. This game has been crazy for the first 17 minutes. And KC going to use the power of this early pressure to at least claim the last of those tier 1 turrets from CFO. But it's another neutral objective going the way of the Oysters.
Yeah, it's just a consolation prize for KC there. The scraps, the turret, getting some money. CFO, the big winners coming out of it, and they're still going to be able to rotate over to bottom. Since Kana's here, it does get difficult to fully commit to it, but Hongq cancels his recall. They're gonna.
Yeah, they want to make this happen. This turret has barely any HP left, but Doggo's about to die. Stays alive a little bit longer. They go in hard on Kana. The Between Worlds is not enough damage because of the bailout here just yet. Vladdy gets himself away, and now Junja's in trouble. Vladdy continuing the chase. Targamas and Yike right next to him. CFO gonna go ahead and call it a day on that one. It will be a 1-for-1 trade on champions, with the tier 1 turret being the bonus for CFO.
And Vladdy's ultimate flash and teleport invested for that 1-for-1 for KC. As you said, the objective had already gone down, so CFO once again decently happy with the way that went, but my goodness, this game, the action just continues. Very quick counter punches from each team. Let's take another look at it. So KC made the call, hey, Kana's not going to teleport in, and once the Nocturne ultimate goes off, there's no option to. So the call has to be simultaneous of like, hey, we are not going to teleport up to Rift Herald, and get the heck out of there and avoid the engage. But it's so hard to avoid a Ornn Nocturne engage because the range is so long. Then this one, though, just walking up right there towards the control warded brush, that one was an avoidable one. Regardless, they teleport in, Vladdy goes to make sure he can get that kill on the Doggo, and it is a shutdown. So the extra value there for KC does get them a bit of a little bump in the gold, and the gold, they once again have been able to squeeze out this very tiny gold lead for themselves. But again, CFO, they just have such an ability to make picks with this super, super long range and dive possibilities.
I mean, this is just the Kana show in terms of where is the gold for KC.
Yeah.
He's up 2,000 gold over his individual lane matchup. Just now, finally, Driver completes his first full item with the Unending Despair. Will make him tankier in the fights. The extra healing could pay some dividends if he does not get just bursted down very quickly. As Driver ready to summon up the Ornhorn yet again. Beautifully done there from Yike, though, to interrupt the second half of the cast. Now Driver's about to die. He barely holds on. Driver, I feel like that was way too close for comfort.
Yeah, Driver just hand checked right there. He was like, I'm going to flash forward to do it quicker, to R2 quicker. And Yike was like, no, I can react to that.
Yeah.
And they immediately do, so well done from him. Driver doesn't lose his life for it, but yeah.
It was very close to losing his life for it. That had to be about 50 HP.
Yeah.
Maybe that was an Unending Despair proc, keeping him alive as Kana jumps over the wall. But he dodges everything that might have been flying towards him. Remember, this is the single strongest player on the map for either team is Kana's Gnar. Just zoning everybody away by himself. Ready to transform now. Gnar bar charged. As Otacon will put some damage into the KC lines. Now going to reset. Everybody hanging around. 80 carries resetting back towards mid lane now to deal with those waves, address that again. KC's just kind of testing the waters here with what they can get away with, starting up the Otacon, but CFO ready to respond in time. Also worth noting, Black Cleaver, second fully completed item here for the Nocturne for Junja. I talked about how Stridebreaker and Experimental Hexplate are normally the two big ones, but just going for the strict ball of stats instead of the ability to get the slow with the Stridebreaker.
Yeah, I'm trying to do some shredding work for Doggo. Done for himself. Regardless, the cooldowns on the ults are so short. They're all back up again, so we could see another commitment. Currently, though, I think the outer tower is just going to get taken. The top tower is very, very low on the side of KC, so Honkyu should be able to get solo tower gold for that, and has his teleport and flash ready for the possible counter move that KC could make on the opposite side of the map, with Otacon being there and the dragon showing up very shortly. Early positioning towards the Brush-In River is kind of critical here for these two teams, because KC, their team will do so much better if they're first. Yeah. Caitlyn traps is like #1 thing for Caitlyn when you're in mid-game. Be at the objective first, line up your traps. KC really, 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 really want to be there first, so that they can make use of all their kind of timing-dependent things they've got here. Kana as well gonna have to do some work to charge up his Gnar bar, because currently, little mini walking towards the fight.
Don't feel great to be a little tiny Gnar, but hey, you're talking about timing. One of the most important things, Kalist just importantly completed his Infinity Edge. Both AD carries now on a 2-item power spike. Both mid laners, 2-item power spike. Junglers, advantage for Junja there, not the 2-item power spike for Yike, means he's going to feel a lot worse when he dives in. And CFO, you already said it earlier, Kobe, have been focusing him whenever they get the opportunity to do so. Drivers here to play spoiler to any potential entry from KC, trying to stop this Drake, and that'll be sole point for CFO, uncontested.
Yeah, I feel like KC have very, very little chance if they're not there first. So very dangerous for them, and they try and get wards for a possible Otacon contest instead. But now they go for Honkyu.
Honkyu in some danger, slammed back into the wall between worlds. All the burst down onto him. They want to get the reset. It's not going to happen, but in the back, huge from Junja to pick up 2. Yes, KC might have assassinated the Akali, but the response is an absolute slugger coming out from CFO. Doggo in the front line, going crazy forward after Kalist, but Kalist turns it around, and now Kana's got his Sterix Gauge, keeping him alive. A little bit more damage, a flash from Junja. Kalist is still alive, and now it's Driver having to run interference on that. Doggo just went completely crazy.
Yeah, he was trying to smurf on Kalist, but Kalist gets the last laugh here. The Caitlyn at the end. Free firing. Targama searching around for any recalls, isn't going to find one. Wow. Flowers, that was a full send if I've ever seen one. Okay, so they go for the pick here onto Akali. They want 100% Akali in the Shroud with all of their AoE. But the key here is that they invest a lot into it. Aurora ultimate, Gnar ultimate, Wukong ultimate. They get the shutdown, but they sustain so much damage, and they use their big ultis in going for it. So Junja's able to answer with 2. But then it's an overchase on the other side at CFO, and you mentioned Doggo, after Driver, the front line, just got chased out, Doggo wanted to go all in on the Kalist, and Kalist just flashes over the wall next to his turret, and then punishes them as they try and run away. He's got his lethal tempo stacked, he's just pummeling them from the other side. And KC, huge turnaround right there, after it is like a big commitment from KC onto the Akali, but then also another large commitment, Doggo there, who's been known to go super hungry for some plays like this. It's just that it came at the same timing as Driver just getting chunked out. So Driver left, your front line left, here we go on Baron.
Yeah, they threw the control ward over the wall into the brush, but it's right on top of a control ward that has already been placed by KC. KC is fully aware that this is being attempted by CFO. CFO wants to force it with the power of the Kalista, the double smite to the combo power with the Rend, but the Nocturne blind over the wall goes, yeah, can he do it? No! They will not steal it away. CFO forces the Baron 25 minutes into the game and gets away with it scot-free.
Flowers, our timeline is we've come from 2 games of CFO doing nothing and losing and waiting to CFO going, yeah, let's try it. Just go for the smite steal. We've got a Kalista Rend combo.
This is absolute madness from CFO. Targamas trying to keep everybody's owned away as Driver fires off an Orn Horn. Targamas getting away from it there with a flash, but now Hongq has made his way forward as well. Yike, the target, the Wukong trying to escape with a perfect execution, seals his fate. The stasis from Hongq. Nice toss into the immediate hostile takeover. CFO just ripped their heads off. Kana and Vladdy, the last two alive, as CFO have a 5-man push versus 2 for the next 20 seconds.
The Oysters looking like a different beast in this game. They are hungry for that game 5.
These Oysters have shark teeth, brother. That is absolute killer instinct right there. The Wombo combo. This is why Kalista and Renata can pair so well together. You throw Renata in like a bowling ball, and the bowling ball makes everybody kill each other. It's absolutely insane when you catch them in a choke like that, and the reward is Otacon.
Huge stuff. CFO with the Baron, with the Otacon, with the confidence. Here we go, another look. Vladdy wants a piece of Doggo. They know Doggo used his flash to go for that previous play, so Caitlyn ult and Aurora ult invested, and Driver's able to force out the flash with the Ornn ultimates, and then the follow-up. Here it is, your favorite play, Flowers, when they're gonna send him in. They got the first kill, and then the chase with the Kalista Renata combo. Knock up into Berserk taunt, chasing them through their own jungle. Huge stuff for CFO on the chase down.
Absolutely crazy, man. And you could see, once again, Targamas, all he was something for Akali to tumble through so that then he could chase after Wukong. They just want Yike. Yeah. They're saying dogpile this guy, man. He's 1-4 in this game, and this is the second game in a row now where instead of being this massive catalyst, this huge playmaker for KC, he's been set behind and just completely useless.
All right, well, I think there's zero chance that they do anything about the dragon.
Yeah.
What about our chances of actually making use of this Otacon buff here for CFO, though? Because the timer is gonna, wind down fairly quickly here. Dragon Soul just looks like that is forfeit for sure. No way that KC are gonna fight into this buff, and so it looks like that's just gonna be the value there. They guarantee it. Ocean Soul acquired. So now CFO with dominant control of anywhere on the map that's not covered by a KC turret.
Huge.
And the ability with these Otacon buffs to even go under the turrets and send the dives. So this is gonna have to be a big defensive stand for KC. You have to defend against these revivals and this large lead that has accrued for CFO. Their constant sustain with the Ocean Dragon.
All right, here comes the march down top lane. Doggo takes a big chunk of damage, but he'll be happy to heal it right back up, and here goes Driver yet again. Forces out the Ornn engage, but a nice sidestep coming out from Vladdy means he stays safe. Hostile takeover over the top, hits multiple targets, but nobody's dead just yet. Into the back goes Hongq, and into the ground goes KC. A double kill over to Hongq as Yike, Kana, and Vladdy try to keep themselves alive, but the Nexus turrets are the target. CFO has their eyes on the prize, and KC is scrambling to keep them from it. Driver teleporting back into the enemy base, ready to rejoin for the final mission of this fourth game. The minion wave has arrived. Kaiwing with a beautiful handshake to force the flash away from Kana, and Doggo is on a killing mission yet again. Hongq in a rampage. Second Nexus turret headed for the ground, and CFO is headed for game 5. We're going to Silver Scrapes.
Hongq, my man. They say, can rookies handle international pressure? Well, he was down 2 games. He is still down to an elimination game, but he has been able to step up in some critical situations here. 17 years old. The Akali getting some early money in this one, and the Akali doing some work.
The Oysters are here to play. It has been absolutely